Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Port Royal. Arrgh! This is sent to me by Steve Jackson Games, and is designed by Alexander Pfister? Anyway, welcome to Port Royal, traders. Hired skilled crew to help you trade with other ships, or chase them away from your port. Build influence in Port Royal, show your worth by mounting a mission for the king, and win. Let me show you how to play. So in Port Royal, all you actually need is a deck of cards. This box is actually kind of ridiculously big considering it's just a deck of cards. But yeah, you shuffle the cards and place them face down on the table. This is the draw deck, and each player will take 3 face down cards, and this is 3 coins. As you can see on the back of all the cards, they have a coin. This represents how much money you have throughout the game. Now, as you see on the front, they got ships and characters and stuff like that. But when you get coins in the game, you just draw them face down from the deck. This shows, it's a handy little way to go, hey, this is money, this is a card. If the draw deck ever runs out, shuffle the discard pile and it becomes the new draw deck. And also make sure you keep track of who starts the game, because all players must take the same number of turns before you determine the winner. So each player in turn is the active player. You control trade in the port, deciding what ships to allow into the harbor. Your turn starts with the discovery phase, in which you draw cards and place them face up in a row to create the harbor display. You draw 1 card at a time. If the card shows a character, which means let me pull one out. Here we go. We got the settler. It stays in the harbor. Each character has a skill, a value in influence points that you need to win the game, and a cost to hire. Hiring does not take place until the second phase, which is the trade and hiring phase. If the card shows a ship, it stays in the harbor and can be traded with in the second phase, unless it is immediately repelled and discarded. You don't have to repel a ship. You may choose to keep it even if it is weak. Sometimes this is advantageous. To repel a ship, compare its combat strength, in this case 4, the number of cross sabers here, with your own total combat strength. That's the cross sabers of the sailors and pirates you have hired. So as you can see, this sailor card here has 1 cross saber, that's 1 strength. If your total is the same or higher, you can choose to repel and discard the ship. Now, only the ship just played can be repelled. If you choose not to repel a ship after you play it, you cannot repel it later, even if you have the required strength. Now, if your strength is lower than the combat strength of the ship, you cannot repel it and it stays in the harbor. And a ship with a skull symbol can't be repelled at all. It just stays in the harbor. Now, you don't lose your combat strength when you use it. So let's say I had 4 combat strength and I repelled this British ship. I could still use that same strength to repel this American ship. It's just the total max you have, not the total amount you have. Now, if the drawn card shows a mission, you place it in a separate row above the harbor area. There it stays until an active player can complete the mission, which may be done at any time during that player's turn. To complete a mission, you must have and discard characters with skills matching those shown on the mission card. So this settler skill matches one of the houses on this mission card. If you do, you receive the mission card, which gets you influence points. You also get the payment, in this case 2 coins, shown on the card. So if I had 2 settlers, I could discard these 2 cards and complete the mission. Now, if the card you pull shows a tax increase, all players with 12 coins or more discard half of their coins, rounded down. Depending on the tax increase drawn, either the player with the most combat strength or the player with the least victory points, and these are the 2 cards you can see here, would gain 1 coin. In case of ties, all tied players get a coin each. Then you discard these when you're done. So this discovery phase keeps going until either the active player decides to stop drawing cards and moves on to the trade and hire phase, or that player reveals a ship with a flag matching one already in the harbor and does not repel it. In this case, the active player's turn ends immediately and they don't get to do any trading or hiring, and the next player goes. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna keep going. All right, doing good so far. No ships yet. All right, so far so good. A lot of characters actually. Now, if you pulled this card, look, you got 2 British ships. You would bust and you wouldn't get to do anything. So there's the risk of that. So let's say they didn't play this card, and then this was the available harbor. Now the active player can take cards from the harbor to trade with the ships or to hire characters. The number of cards taken depends on the number of different nationalities represented in the harbor. So if you have 0 to 3 different flags, you may take 1 card from the harbor. With 4 different flags, you may take 2 cards, and with 5 flags, you may take 3 cards. In this case, there's only one flag in the harbor, so you can only take one card. The cards are taken one at a time, so for instance, you can use coins you earn from a trade immediately for a hire. So trading, you can take one ship from the harbor, discard it, and take the number of coins shown on the top of the card. So I could take this British ship, discard it, and get 4 coins from the deck. Or I can hire a character. So let's say I had 4 coins. I could pay 4 coins by discarding them and put this priest in my personal display. Now, after the active player has taken 1 or more cards for their turn, each other player in clockwise order may take a single card from the harbor to trade or hire according to the same rules. But if you do that on a turn where you're not the active player, you have to pay 1 coin to the active player. So let's say I really wanted to get these 4 coins. What I would do is I would trade the ship, get 4 coins, but then one of those coins is going to go to the active player as payment. Same thing if I bought, let's say, a jack of all trades. I would pay 6 coins, get the card, but then I have to pay the active player 1 coin since I'm not the active player. Now, if you have no gold but you take a ship, you can use the coins you get from this ship to pay for the 1 coin. Now, if the harbor is empty before it comes to your turn, too bad. Then, after all players have had the chance to trade or hire, take all the remaining cards from the harbor and discard them. The game is over at the end of a round where a player has collected 12 influence points or more. Then you finish the current round and make sure that everyone has had an equal number of turns in the game. After the last turn, whoever has the most influence points is the winner. So the gameplay is very simple. You're essentially trading for ships or buying characters. But let's go over some of the characters and their skills. Characters like the Settler and the Priest, they give you necessary skills you need to complete the missions. Like, for example, before we said this one would need 2 houses, so you would need the Settler for that. Cards like the Pirate offer you swords that let you repel ships. That way, if you see a ship revealed that has the same flag as another flag you've already shown, you can try to knock them away with that kind of card. The Trader will give you 1 extra coin when you trade with a matching ship, and all of the different flags have equivalent traders for them, so this will give you a +1 coin for every Dutch ship you trade with. The Jester, you get 1 coin if either it is your turn to enter the trade and hire phase and no cards are left in the harbor, or there is no trade and hire phase in the current turn, meaning if somebody busted, you would get a coin. The Jack of all trades is a wild card. It can give you an anchor, a cross, or a house for missions. The Admiral, if it is your turn to enter the trade and hire phase, and if at least 5 cards are in the harbor, you get 2 coins, even if you are not the active player. So this guy benefits from lots of cards in the harbor. The Governor, during the trade and hire phase, you may take 1 additional card from the harbor, paying the active player if appropriate. So this gives you a +1 boost for taking cards. And the Mademoiselle, hiring a character costs 1 coin less. It's just a nice discount. And that's the game. Push your luck trying to reveal cards and try not to bust. And then once the cards are revealed, everybody can trade ships and get coins, or hire, get characters, and complete missions, or get buffs and abilities. That's pretty much the whole game. This is a nice, clean, short game. All you need is the deck of cards, and there you go. The box is honestly way too big for what is literally just a deck of cards. Even using the back of the cards as coins is clever, because that way you're not fiddling with little coin components. It just makes it just the deck. That's very cool. I appreciate the simplicity of it. Draw cards till you're done, then take a ship, or hire a guy, or do more if there are more ships. Super easy to learn. I enjoy the push your luck mechanic of seeing if you can get better cards on the display before busting and trying to mitigate your luck with repelling the ships if you have enough combat strength. That's a fun, fair mechanic. The whole mechanic of having everyone, giving everyone the option to hire or trade on other people's turns with the exchange of a coin is a clever way of always making sure that everyone is engaged on every turn. And you're able to do something even if your turn ends up sucking. Like, even if you bust on your turn, you still have the opportunity on other players' turns to try to make up for that. Super minor quibble is the one I always have. It's iconography. I think that a lot of these cards could easily just have text. Most of them are pretty straightforward, but cards like the Governor and the Admiral, you kind of look at these and it's just like, I would rather just have you say, hey, there are more than 5 cards, you get 2 coins. It just, I don't know, it's a silly little quibble, but I just prefer text always. I get wanting to make the cards look consistent, I understand that. And you know, once you've seen the cards enough, you'll learn them. That's with any game with symbols, you'll learn them eventually. But I just prefer text. Also, the theme is not nearly as exciting as this badass pirate cover makes it look. This makes it look like you're gonna have a rip-roaring, swashbuckling time. This is just like a trading card game. Get coins, get characters, make ships appear. It's not this exciting, but it is smooth. It's smooth, it's quick to play, it's engaging and fun. I enjoyed the game a lot. So yeah, just don't expect a big, rip-roaring pirate adventure, but otherwise you'll have a good time. Simple and fun.